So we were engaged by the contractors to give them a hand taking the water truck in through the inland road. They had bulldozers and machinery to clear the path in front of them, and we were there to provide sort of technical support on what they could clear and how they could clear it. A lot of the bridges were very damaged, so they needed to ford the rivers. Some of the lighter cars could go over the bridges, but we needed to give them support in how to sort of build the ramps and get through the river safely and clear the debris along the way. When we were driving into Kaikoura, the town was just full of people around the marae, getting sort of food, getting some water, which they had, but they were having to boil it, whereas the water we were bringing through they didn't need to boil, so they were really, really pleased to see us.
When the railway line was closed, all the freight that was normally travelling on the railway line had to go by another means. So overnight, tiny backcountry roads in small towns suddenly turned into State Highway 1 with hundreds and thousands of trucks moving through them. After the earthquake, we knew that the damage was so massive that we weren't able to repair it ourselves, so we were going to have to reach out to the industry. We had existing relationships with Aurecon, which meant that we could draw on their expertise and knowledge of the railway network immediately so that we could get a head start on repairing the damage.
We got a phone call from KiwiRail sort of shortly after the earthquake, and they were wanting to do an inspection of the tunnels to understand the extent of the damage that had occurred. The tunnels overall fared really well during the earthquakes, and I think it's one of the reasons the rail got up and running as quickly as it did. That said, there were a number of tunnels that got significantly damaged. Tunnel 18 is probably one that jumps to mind. It's got a fault line running through it, and we got part way in and realised there was a half-metre step in the tunnel. It's not that conducive to running trains.
New Zealand Transport Agency approached us to develop a concept design that would improve the safety and resilience of the road and rail infrastructure of 60 kilometres of this challenging coastal route. So working with the community in mind, we fast-tracked the options process and developed a concept design, economic justification and consenting requirements, all within a remarkable 6-week timeframe.
What Aurecon offered the ability to do was that they gave us 3D imagery that we were able to workshop with the images on the screen, and that helped us to fast track our visualisation of the area that we were working through and what improvements might look like as it might affect that natural environment of the coast. We were given a space of weeks to come up with a plan which would normally take a year. And so being able to fast track that confidence that we were developing the right things was invaluable.
The successful reopening of these critical transport routes and the ongoing efforts to not only rebuild but to improve the safety, reliability and resilience of the road and rail infrastructure is testament to the hard work and the collaboration of all teams involved and the neighbouring communities.